Serious news, most single Koreans want state support in getting married.
Rather unusual article coming out of the Korea Herald from today about young men and women who were surveyed complaining or at least asking the government for help in order to get married because of low birth rates or low infertility rates.
They're using that as the justification because the Korean government wants more births and they do all kinds of things to help promote higher birth rates. But the cost of weddings and getting married are astronomical.
I have strong opinions about all of this that I will get to in a moment, but I did want to just state a couple of the facts from the article and from the survey. 86% of men and 87% of women surveyed said that the government should have policies in order to help make marriages more possible or more easy long-term because less people want to get married. One of the reasons why the government maybe should, if they want more people, is that people over there don't get pregnant unless they're married.
The number of single-family homes in Korea is extremely low because of this. I think the part that struck me more than anything was, they say in the article, Korean couples spent an average of 238 million won, or $215,000 US, on their wedding ceremonies in the last year. Meanwhile, the average young person makes only about 30 million won on average a year.
Personally speaking, I want less government in our lives, and I think a lot of younger people sort of feel the same way, being disenfranchised. For instance, with the election in the United States, you only have two choices. One of the choices is not very good, the other choice is the establishment. People don't like the establishment. Not to get into government politics, but that is sort of the consensus with young people, I think, which might be another reason why in Korea they're rebelling a little bit more against the idea of getting married, because they're having the same sorts of issues over there as they're having over here. While employment might not necessarily be up or down, the wage is down over there, and I saw it happen a lot with my students graduating from university and then going into the workforce. Unless you were in a particular area of expertise or field of study, a major in your university, you weren't expected to make a lot of money going out into the workforce once you graduated. And it was a scary thing for me to see because I was trying to do my best as a professor to just make them hopeful for the future, but a lot of them were already getting to me, say the men for instance, after they got back from military, only had 2 years left of school and were very much not excited to go out and get a job unless they were an engineering major or they were going to master's or PhD type future where they would be able to make more money after they studied even more.
Well, there's other things on top of that. I mean, you also have the big gender gap wage in South Korea, and women do make significantly less than men. It's one of the greatest in the OECD or something like that, the gender gap. But the other thing is, parents are expected to pay for these weddings.
Right.
And so, in order to get married, your parents have to approve of your spouse in order for them to dish out the money. Sometimes parents don't have that kind of money. And also, like, what if you want to marry out of love and not marry somebody that your parents just want you to marry? And I think that this is the other thing that's starting to get young people to push for this. One of the big things that they are recommending and requesting is the ability to use government property in government areas for cheaper wedding ceremonies.
$200 to $300 they would charge. That was at the bottom of the article if you want to click it. The link is below. I don't understand why it's necessary to continue to raise the birth rate. This is just my own personal thinking. This isn't anything where I've read it and thought, okay, that's a good idea and I'm taking it. This is just my own personal philosophy as we continue to populate the planet more and more all over the world. I understand governments want more tax revenue. I mean, that's really what having the birth rate higher and higher is all about. But it doesn't help the planet to have more people. And it seems like we naturally have the right idea if we want to have less children, and people are deciding to have less children as a direct result of getting more education, because that is what ends up happening when, for instance, women get more education, they have less children. I seem to think that we would naturally go the correct way for ourselves. I'm talking about humanity. And if humanity seems to be having less children, then why is the government trying to push for the other thing just so they can get a little bit more money? It doesn't work towards logic, at least in my thinking. And I wonder if some of you think that way too. Like, I just don't understand why we have to continue to have more people populate the planet more, use up more natural resources, and take away from our future as a whole just for the short-term tax revenue. I don't really see the other benefit besides tax revenue.
There are other benefits, but that would make this video way too long.
What is your reaction to young Koreans reaching out to the government for help in order to get married? Comments.
Should they even be doing this? What are your thoughts?
It's quite an interesting proposition, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Click the like button, you guys. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us here at Hallyu Back. And don't forget to subscribe for more Hallyu Back news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego!
Bye!